Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to the Christmas Day edition of the DCEU Daily. Did you really think I was going to leave you without an edition of the DCEU Daily on this blessed day of Christmas? We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and another shite New Year. Welcome. And we've got a jam-packed show for you. It may be Christmas Day, but the world of the DC Extended Universe keeps on turning for better or for worse. So today, we'll be talking about some things that have leaked online about what's going to happen in the Flashpoint movie. Wow, I'm going to read them out to you. I don't think I'm triggered by these things. I think it's very interesting. We'll go into it. We'll talk about George Miller, the guy who was going to direct the Justice League movie, saying potentially Superman is boring, and I'll explain why George isn't being as toxic as we think. And I thought that at first, and I reacted badly. Lots of people have blocked me. Welcome to the club. And finally, we'll talk about Tom Welling's interview with Michael Rosenbaum on Inside of You, claiming he was resistant to playing Superman after Smallville, but now he's warming to the idea of playing proper Superman in the costume. Isn't that exciting? It is for me, and it is for many other Smallville and Superman fans. But first, let's get into this, because you get a lot of these leaks being posted on these little secret websites. I don't know where this is from, but this is a claim about what's happening in the Flash movie. Take a listen to this. Flash warns Diana about Steve Trevor's death. Diana manages to save him, but is still seriously injured. In attempting to save his life, takes him to Paradise Island. Trevor falls into a coma, hoping that one day he will wake up. The passing of time does not affect him in Themyscira, so Flashpoint won't affect him. He'll stay in the coma. The events of Wonder Woman 84 never occur. Now, this first bit is absolutely fine for me, and I think for most people. We all love Chris Pine. We all love his, interpretation of Steve Trevor. I don't think he should have ever been killed off in the first place. It was a dumb move, because then she didn't know how to bring him back. So she quantum leaped the fucking ghost. So Diana is shagging someone without him giving any permission. And the SJWs, if it was a man doing this to a woman, would have went absolutely mad, right? So I like this. We get so many of these leaks, it could be bullshit, but I'd be so happy if this was true. Flash warns the Man of Steel about the Battle of Metropolis and the millions of deaths it causes. Kal-El manages that the epicenter of the battle is far from the city. Interesting. Zod is not murdered and is locked in the Phantom Zone along with Faora. Neither Bruce Wayne nor Lex Luthor see Superman as a threat. There is no cause for Zod to create Doomsday. Well, Zod didn't create Doomsday. Zod was used to create Doomsday by Lex Luthor. So I think he's trying to say, because I don't think this person's English because his spelling's atrocious, but I can't talk about spelling, but he says, yeah, basically no need to create Doomsday. The events of Batman v Superman never occur. Yeah, exactly. Superman does not die fighting Doomsday, as there is no Doomsday, as the Kryptonian did not pass away. Now, there's another little bit we're going to find on here as well. No cause for Zod to create Doom. We've been there. The events of Batman v Superman never occur. Superman does not die fighting Doomsday, as there is no Doomsday. As the Kryptonian did not pass away, Amanda Waller did not create the secret program Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad, and the mother boxes are never awakened, and the Justice League never join forces to stop Steppenwolf. And that's to give you an idea of what soft reboot means and what Flash is going to apply to the DCEU, apart from introducing the DC multiverse. So get ready. So this is an interesting post. Is this an example of what could happen, or is this what's happening? So because he says at the end here, this is an example. So I don't know. So I really like the element of bringing back Steve Trevor. I think that's a really, really good idea. And I don't think anyone's opposed to that. Obviously, having it that Batman versus Superman doesn't exist is very problematic. And it's going to make a lot of people angry. People, you know, the stuff that's going to potentially change in Man of Steel, where Barry warns Superman about all the people that are going to die. And Superman fights Zod somewhere else where there's not many or any people. So this changes things. And look, people are understandably going to be pissed off when they read this. They don't want to lose BVS from the canon. And they don't want Man of Steel to change. I understand that. How do I feel about this? Well, listen, I'm not going to get my pitchforks out because I've got Man of Steel. I've got Batman versus Superman. I don't actually need them to be canon. I can't force a studio to keep something as canon they don't want to keep as canon. I'm not happy that they potentially could delete Batman versus Superman from the canon. It isn't really fair. But there's another way of looking at this. We don't know the complete story here. We don't even know if this is true. But let's go along these insane lines that they are going to interfere with Man of Steel and they're going to delete Batman versus Superman. They could literally set up an Elseworld parallel universe for Zack Snyder to play in. So this could be the beginning of setting up a parallel universe. And Zack posted another picture. This time it was of the Batmobile. And it was a nice thing. I think there was a green light round it or something. It was really, really good. If I find it a little bit later on in the video, I'll show it to you. I'm sure you've all seen it already. So Zack's not giving up. Zack's not done. So I'm always a glass half full geezer, not a half empty geezer. So what I'm saying to you, just because this film like BVS could be deleted from the kind of main universe canon, it doesn't mean it can't exist again in a parallel universe Elseworld. And I think this may be what's going on because it's going to look very, very different. We are talking about a soft reboot. We're talking about creating multiple Earths, saying that this DC Extended Universe hasn't just got one Earth, it's got a multitude of Earths. And it's got Elseworlds, and it's got parallel universes. So this is where it can all exist. Either Warner Brothers, as it is now, have made the decision for Zack to play in his own parallel universe, Elseworld, or when Zack tries to sell it to, sell the idea to Zaslav and Discovery, he can say, if he hasn't already, he can say, listen, I don't need to play in the central universe. He's already mentioned when he was promoting the Snyder Cut that he is in a multiverse, in a, Elseworld of his own anyway. He kind of seemed down for that, didn't he? So this isn't the end. Even if this is true, everyone, this is not the end. Don't lose hope, please. I know it's upsetting to read this. Of course, they're not going to tell you potentially that Zack can play in an Elseworld or parallel universe. It doesn't pay these people. It pays them to tell you a bullshit story or half the story, because that's only half the story, my friends. And that, if true, is just the tip of the iceberg. And this is why it makes this Flash movie very intriguing to me. Because when the Flash finishes, we as an audience must see the potential of an interlinked, interconnected universe, like the potential Feige and the MCU did, but in a lot higher terms. Because so much more is expected from the DC Extended Universe than the MCU. The MCU could come round your house, shit on your plate, you'd eat it and go yummy. That's what it's like, right? A lot of the MCU content isn't even great, but the stands go, oh my God, the MCU, yeah, I've come. You know what I mean? That's what it's like, right? Maybe I shouldn't have done that on the video. I hope it doesn't get deleted or anything. It's not like I actually did it, was it? But that's what it seems like. It's something like Hawkeye that is terribly mundane and bland. It's not awful, but it's bland. And it's nothing in there because Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin's in it, and he wasn't even a great version of Kingpin. He wasn't intimidating. He's wearing that awful outfit that looks like a fucking meme. I didn't think he was good at all in it. I was disappointed in what I saw. I didn't find him intimidating. But that's what happens when you give a PG-13 version. Netflix, to their credit, and the people working on the Daredevil show, made him a lot more intimidating. But they didn't want to intimidate. They didn't want him to be overly intimidated. And in the end, I mean, it looks like, I mean, who knows? We also don't know if he's taken something to make him invulnerable. So we saw that when Kate was hurting him, he wasn't really getting hurt. So he must have some invulnerability or something. It's weird, right? He's taken something. So I think we can say, spoiler alert, he may be dead, but he probably isn't. And that's the MCU. So this is very interesting. It is, and intriguing, and to some people it will be exciting. Especially bringing back Steve Trevor, which I think they were always going to do anyway, because they know Patty made a mistake killing him off. It's good to have consequences in a movie, but when a character's so popular, you need to find a better way. You see, they still could have made us think he was dead. And in Wonder Woman 84, he could have just told Diana that literally he jumped out the plane, he was captured by some people, he was experimented on, that's why he's still alive in 84. Something. Or if you don't want to do something so ridiculous and outrageous, you don't move the fucking movie so far away from the Great War or whatever war they were in the first movie. You stay close. Then you can use all those supporting characters. Then you don't have any of the issues with Steve Trevor. And you can still say he jumped out the plane at the very last minute. Right? It's happened in so many stories. It's not that unbelievable. Patty messed up. So the deletion of Wonder Woman 84 would have me all like, wow, this is fucking awesome. But in terms of deleting the Snyderverse, hold up. Because just because it's deleted, potentially, maybe, probably, maybe not probably, who knows. Just because it's deleted from the central universe, it doesn't mean they can't set up Zack with his own Elseworld parallel universe. So keep that in mind. So a director has said that Superman potentially is boring and he needs something going on with inside himself. He needs obstacles, things like this. And you know what I say to him is, well, isn't it the same for every character? Potentially every character can be boring, right? Hawkeye is a boring character. Nobody goes on about Hawkeye being a boring character. But it's always this, Superman is boring. Now, to be fair to the director, he said potentially. But as I say, this can be for any character. And there's different ways that you can tackle Superman. You can tackle him in the way Dick Donner and Tom Mankiewicz did, where you just stick to the fact that he's a pure superhero who just saves people, who has this relationship with Lois Lane. He's a bit of a klutz when he's in disguise as Clark Kent. And it's actually very simple. Now, you have to ask the question if that kind of direction would kind of translate with today's audience. Now, Matthew Vaughn has said that's the kind of movie he'd like to make. My concern would be there would have to be something a little bit more there. You can have a bright, colourful, fun Superman movie. Nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. Just like you can have a darker take on the character. That's not really an issue, but you can't just think about yourself and what you want. You've got to think, is this going to work as a medium, as a trilogy, or, you know, Superman turning up everywhere? So you have to look at it and say, right, I want my Superman to be pure, but I don't want him to be boring. So I've always said about this that you have to put a little bit of Tony Stark inside of Clark Kent and Kal-El. That doesn't mean he starts building weapons and sells them to the highest bidder, or he sleeps with women, or he's Tony Stark. He's not literally Tony Stark, but you can add some sarcasm. So someone tries to shoot him, I've said this before on this channel, and basically he catches the bullet and he goes to the villain, where have you been, the Phantom Zone? It's a good little gag. How do you not know that I'm not bulletproof? It's a bit like Superman Returns when the guy keeps on shooting him, shoots him in the eye. It looks great. But how the fuck doesn't anyone know? How can there be anyone on the planet Earth who doesn't know Superman's literally bulletproof, right? So you can add a little bit of humour. You can have him be a little bit more sarcastic with the villains themselves. And I think you can give him a little bit more of a personality there. So that's important. And of course, you have to give him challenges. He has to go up against a villain that challenges him. That's why I think Superman versus the Elite is a great graphic novel, because Manchester Black and his team are not just powerful, they challenge everything that Superman believes in. So what you're doing is, in that story, and it's a great way of doing it, you're putting Superman on trial and his beliefs. Superman doesn't kill people, he puts people in prison. Those people get out. Says Manchester Black, I, Manchester Black, just want to kill them so they can't come back. It still doesn't matter whether you kill them or not, by the way, because there's other villains always ready to take their place. As Batfleck says in BVS, criminals are like weeds. You pull one up, another one grows in its place. It's obvious. But it's a good debate. Manchester Black puts Superman's values on trial. It has the conversations the Snyderverse fans have with the purists. And I'm not going to take a side here, because I don't think there is a right or wrong side here. So that's what Superman versus the Elite would do. And this is why I always, when I wrote my Superman movie, which is never going to become a movie, but when I wrote the script, I had Metallo in it, John Corbin, and you know, at first he's friends with Clark and he becomes Metallo, and then what happens is Manchester Black he's putting pressure on Superman via the media to kill Metallo. So this is difficult for Superman, and he has flashbacks to the Second World War and how the governments of the world were putting pressure on him to kill Hitler, the Nazis and the Germans, and Superman refuses. So that's a good theme for a story, because it gives Clark and Superman this internal battle. The internal battle for Superman is not that he's boring, because once you tell me that a pure-hearted character is boring, that doesn't say something about the said character, it says something about you. If you think nice is boring, if you're one of these young women who says, I like a baddie, I want a bad boy, I don't want a good boy, and you think they're boring, then that says something about you. And when you get bitten and hurt and destroyed by the baddie, don't you dare say it's all bloody men. You understand the point I'm trying to head for here. So the point is, Superman isn't boring. Any character can be boring if you don't put life and soul into that character. That is the challenge of a writer. But this thing saying that Superman is boring is the biggest bullshit ever. Believe you me, do my idea. Use Superman's values against him, because that story is great, and you should go and see the animated adaptation of it. It's great. Ultimately, Superman, you know, pretends that he's gone fucking mad. You want me to kill Manchester? I'll fucking kill. I'll kill all your fucking people. And he makes it look like he has gone mad and he's killed people. And Manchester looks at him and says, this isn't you. Do you get it? This isn't you, Superman. But isn't this what you wanted, Manchester? For me to kill? To put them down? And then he reveals that he hasn't done any of it. I will never be what you want me to be. I will never be that person. It's beautiful. I cry. Because that's what Superman is. This is not me saying the killing of Zod by Superman in MOS is wrong, by the way. I'm saying the reason Superman, because Henry Cavill's Superman is pure in a lot of ways. He's not as pure as the other interpretations of him, right? But he's still, especially in Man of Steel, when he's talking to his mum and he's talking to Lois, it's not an S on my world, it means hope. And it's that naivety. And then you get the cynical aspect from Lois saying, well, in this world, it's an S, you know, and I like that. So that's the Superman I like in Man of Steel. I love BVS, but maybe they shouldn't have made him a lot so dour in it, you know, and maybe that was a slight mistake, but I do like BVS. I think it's a great movie in general. So there's always been, ever since the Snyderverse, there's always been this, should he be this, should he be the 1940s strongman, the pure guy, or should he be what Snyder's suggesting? He shouldn't be either one or the other, because there can be many versions of Superman, and you can do with him what you will. But I think my idea would be pretty successful, putting Superman's values, you know, on trial and saying, right, Superman, you don't want to kill, you want to be the nice guy, this is why you're wrong. And then Superman responds at the end of the movie compellingly, when everyone thinks he's gone fucking nuts and he's become a killer. You see, you don't like it now. You don't like it now. You wanted me to change. You wanted me to change. And now that I've changed and I've gone start raking bonkers and I'm killing people and I'm abusing my power, because Superman has all this power and he holds back. Don't you understand? That's what Snyder, Goya and Nolan were doing in Man of Steel. When young Clark's being bullied by Whitney, he's holding on to the bar to restrain himself from hurting Whitney. He could kill him. In the bar, when the sexist is pinching Chris's backside and, you know, Cal comes to a rescue and the guy's pouring beer over Clark, he's mocking him, Clark restrains himself. Superman is the very example of restraint. And if you want to change that, if you want to kill the bright light in that character's heart, then that is wrong. And Snyder doesn't do that. He doesn't. When he becomes evil is because he's taken over by Darkseid and that thing he uses, which I forgot what it's called now, and I've mentioned it on this channel so many times, I'm shitting on it. But yeah, so that's why he becomes bad. He's never evil Superman by choice. Always remember that. That it's part of Snyder's story to redeem the character afterwards, right? And these are the challenges that the director's talking about. So I like Superman versus the Elite for that very reason, because it challenges what Superman stands for. But it doesn't delete. It makes Superman prove his point. You want me to change, but you don't really want me to change. You actually want me to be a good guy, and that's the point. So what George is saying in this video about Superman potentially being boring, yes, George, Superman, along with every single fucking character, could be boring if you don't put the right groundwork in, aka Hawkeye. It isn't a new thing for me to say that Smallville is probably the greatest shared DC universe that's ever been set up. It was on television, very low budget, but that didn't matter, because when the quality of the writing, the standard of the writing is so good, it's beautiful. The CW's problem, of course, now is they're CW in the 21st century, and everyone's gone kind of politics and extremist mad now. So there can be no quality, but back in Smallville's time, you could focus on the quality. Not only do I think they gave us the best version of live-action Superman without putting him in the costume, by the way, they gave us the best DC Extended Universe. Why is it the best DC Extended Universe? Because they did it, it works, it's well written. But they start Clark off in season 1 as just a teenager with powers, he's confused, and he's got to work it all out. Smallville, as I've said before, earned the right to do this. And slowly but surely it became a DC Extended Universe and the best version, live action version of Clark Kent. They're my facts and that's what I believe. So, Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor in Smallville, does this podcast. He has celebrities on it called Inside of You. He had Tom Welling back for the second time. Tom Welling said he was very resistant in playing Superman in movies, and he said there was no way they could stop production on Smallville when the show was active for him to play Superman in, like, Superman Returns. Things that were muted at first. But he said now he really is warming to the idea, more than warming to the idea. He would absolutely like to try and play Superman. And I think this is great. Of course, the question would be, would he play a brand new Superman, his own Superman? I just think his version is so popular, you'd have him not in the Superman Returns costume, because I thought that was such a cheap way of doing it. He still kind of looks good from a distance because we never really saw him in the costume, and that's fine. And that brings Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor back. Because we're in the multiverse, baby, we can bring back that Earth in Smallville. And they can do movies, they can cameo in Earth 1 of the DC Extended Universe. So I'm really happy that Tom Welling is saying he would actually like to play Superman properly this time. So that's very, very exciting. So that's the Christmas Day edition of the DCEU Daily. My final message for today is, if you're going to forgive anyone, forgive yourself. If you're on your own and you're lonely, just remember, you are where you are. There's nothing you can do about your situation on Christmas Day. But if you can find something that makes you happy, hold on to it for the whole day and you'll be okay. Life is a challenge for everyone. For some people in small ways, some people have got all the luxuries in the world but still have major issues. Everyone has problems. Spare a kind word for someone if you can. And for the people that hate you, give them love. Because I think people who hate you need your love the most. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow on Boxing Day for even more DCEU Daily. Until then, goodbye.